Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we're back to Machinika Museum. Let's go ahead and see what happens when we click the resume button. Like, I had to exit out, so I may not have made exactly the same amount of progress. No, it looks like we're exactly in the same place. Last episode, nearly we hit just a major problem in that I could not figure out that you had to kind of swipe and drag somewhere around down here where the anti-grav device here is holding up the scroll to see the backside of the scroll to see the solution to a puzzle, because otherwise I was just going to have to brute force and randomize the guess as far as how to turn on this scroll that is digital. Now, something occurred to me in between this episode and the last, in that if our duplicator technology, which we assume is mostly based on, let's just call it Earthling technology. We really have no idea for certain whether the character we're playing as is an Earthling. If this duplicator technology can duplicate anything, that has a lot of ramifications, certainly. Like, first of all, how do you make currency when you could just copy dollars or coins or valuable things like gold? If you can just duplicate things. But on a bigger scale, since this is just, we're duplicating technology that belongs to aliens, that implies that there is, for some reason, a way in which this duplicator can just scan completely foreign technology and make a copy of it. So at that point, you don't even have to understand how the technology works. You could give a duplicator like this to a child, and they could just live happily for the rest of their life without learning anything. It's far too powerful of a feature. Of course, the game will be limited, I'm sure, in part. So the move here, I think, is that we have like what looks like a loading bar, and we have some sections here. So I bet what we're going to do is move these dials. Yeah. The move here is to spin the dials, which it feels a little twitchy. And we're just going to keep on spinning the dials until these two dots line up and this one is askew. Like that. Although, pictorially, this one is hollow, so you'd think it would be that one. But I don't know where else. Let's look over here. Let's see if the symbol's any different. No, not really. And so my assumption here is that this can just be done with one spinner. I might be wrong about that. It may be that I need to spin the other spinners too on the other side. Alright, let's leave it there. And let's go over here and see what this does. This really only affects one. And see, this is barely working with a mouse, so I definitely question whether you could have done this with a controller. Let's grab the very edge of the thing. Again, I may just need to look at the back of the scroll. Just see if this shape is any different. No, not really. It's just nicer and easier to see on this side where it's shinier. A lot of this is very shiny. Huh. It might be a case where maybe this mechanism needs something changed about it, and that there is another element to it, like trying to pull up the top of the scroll or trying to twist something. Well, and what's interesting, I guess, you take from this is that this is a great example of where an average game, that's almost perfect, except for that one dot needs to be down here. Like, and a game that wasn't 100% around this concept would have polished a better interface into this so that you would click some buttons or something. You wouldn't just spin things. See, that's not quite right. Don't know what else I'm supposed to be doing though. All you're hearing is clicking. Game gets quiet and stops playing music. Yeah. Would be my guess that that is the correct solution there. For that. And I guess I can drag fairly far onto the edge of this. But because it is a 3D object, you might be noticing that when I get to this other side, it wants to spin faster. Definitely, this is a great example of how in a real person's hands, that would be way more manageable. But they've never really figured out how to do any kind of augmented reality VR where you can actually feel objects to any major level of success. It would be difficult, to say the least. See, weirdly, that feels like that is the closest. And there's an opening here on this symbol, in this symbol. So, is there something we could drag? Something we could screw? You don't even have any objects to duplicate it. Like, I think this is supposed to be really simple, and it just is not. is there something here maybe I'm doing wrong? Should I perhaps? Well, see, that's weird. This one here, if this represents this, and this represents that, and this represents that, then this one has no spot. Once again, I needed to turn it around. So the goal on the side here is to get a small, medium, small. And so they were fooling me with the symbols here. And I guess maybe if I combine these two symbols, I would have figured that out. The problem with that, though, is I don't know if I saw any point in which all of these would line up. I mean, that's about the closest there. And then all the ratios stop lining up again. This effectively feels like a combination lock. Okay, what could I be getting wrong then? I would say at least 2 out of the 3 of these dots need to be lined up at the bottom, with the center one being one of them. Is there possibly a case here where we're just supposed to click on things? What would the other options be? I mean, we could do something like that. It doesn't feel correctly lined up. But maybe this is a great example where you run into what can only really be described as kind of bad gameplay design, in that there's no audio feedback really as to, are you getting closer, are you getting more correct. There's no visual feedback in a bar. These symbols don't feel to me like they line up in such a way that they could be all over each other. See, I think that might be right. Is that the sizes may be wrong on the symbols, but the positions might be right. I also have no clue as far as how much of a game is here. This could be a case where we are fairly close to being done, or it could be a case where there's several more puzzles. It really doesn't feel like the game wants to snap into anything. Oh, there's gotta be something else. The general idea. Oh, there is something else. Look at that. Okay. So, the pink, we now know, is somewhat in the right place. Interesting also how this seems to be moving a lot further than that is, but maybe that's actually exactly equal distance. It's just that this part sticks out. Okay. So we're gonna have to mess with this a bit. Quite a lot, actually, I think. Okay. Oh, I bet this doesn't move. I bet this is the solution, the secret solution. And I need to do it on the other side. Okay. Let's try that. At least that somewhat would make sense. So I think that is correct on the green. Well, wait a minute. That's green. And this over here is pink. And then it's showing me yellow. The colors don't. Like yellow, green, magenta. I don't know. Let's try that. Yellow. Maybe it's supposed to just line up with green. Let's see, pink. Let's see if let's just double check we have pink where we want it to be. No, we don't. I totally see a case here where this would just be incredibly frustrating and players would not know what to do and just rage quit, assuming that there is no real solution. There is, I think, something to be said about not hiding things behind things, because that does, I think, create More frustration than is fair. See, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it either. That's not really it either. Kind of seems like it, like the ratio between this one and this one always seem to end up in the same spot. We want one in this point, one in this point right in the middle, and then one at that angle for pink. There is something nice to the idea if you could hover, use anti-grav for delicate scrolls and things, but I'd have to assume you're using a lot of energy to have anti-gravity. Oh, so that is perfect. Wow, and I guess the other one was already perfect. But that took 20 minutes. That's a lot of work. Certainly just to unlock the computer terminal. Okay. And then this seems to indicate a time progression, which there is something certainly to be said on how would you make a technology that people would understand. Like, how would you indicate numbers or progression of time? So we get a little bit more storyline. I was hoping for a lot more storyline in this game, but more puzzles also works as a supplementary to playing Nancy Drew and the Creature of Kapu Cave, because there really weren't a lot of puzzles or really that much of a story that I appreciated. There was more story than this game by far. A spaceship question mark. I've never seen one like this. Too bad. That's too bad. This device doesn't seem capable of locating it. So this scroll seems to be exclusively a key that you then lock into a container and put into a spaceship. Assuming that is a spaceship, that is a pretty big assumption. I saw it perhaps as a chair that would interact with you in some way, maybe make you see images. And see, they certainly have made up this concept here where that felt like that was progressing to some final thing, and it really didn't now, where at any point the game could just throw a new puzzle box at us and it just wouldn't matter. Which is probably a decent thought if you just wanted to constantly make puzzle boxes, and the museum background explains it away pretty nicely, but gameplay wise it's going to be kind of irritating if we're just doing puzzle box after puzzle box with no real connection. Let's read the letter. One thing I thought, and I seriously doubt this story would get this complicated, is what if you were the inventor of these devices and then you forgot, erased your memory or something, and are rediscovering the devices you created in the first place. To what end, I don't know, but that would be an interesting twist, certainly. Preliminary discovery report blank blank of unknown blank matter. At this point we are not even certain whether it's of natural origin or artificial. Extracting this item proved to be especially complicated given the location of blank, shipped to the museum separately under reference number blank. That aside, the usual physical nature of this item protected when the unusual physical nature of this item protected when blank. The energy it releases is quite enormous, all while staying totally cold. Following this discovery, the military team attached to the operation mentioned many potential applications. Yeah. Note, high energy release, use with caution. Okay. Nothing on the backside. I think somewhat irritating part about the world they're building, where you know there are many alien civilizations, is you are in this boring museum all alone instead of seeing any aliens, which is not really what I imagine most people would want to experience. Once again, we have keys just on the same package. Yeah, if you told me this whole thing was storyline-wise a simulation just to test the ingenuity of the player, I'd believe you, because it's certainly not real security here. And any need for security implies that there is some kind of antagonistic force. And if there was an antagonistic force, we're probably not going to be told what it is in this game. If there was somebody trying to steal these items, if there was somebody who would dangerously use the items, you would think maybe it would be a science versus military concept. Seriously, is that it? I don't think so. Yeah, there's a lot more. 37237. You can see, well, there's a coffee ring stain here showing, hiding the 2. You can see a 1 here. So it's Adam. So we just have a floating object. Stone, what could I do with a rock? Particularly for puzzle games, the screenshots you would see on Steam would likely be the early puzzles. Like, it'd be kind of silly for them to show like the very last one and spoil things, but some games probably do. Stone, what can I do with it? Let's see. We have a finely polished stone here, which pyramid that came in the box. It definitely seems like it should be spun around. Okay, well that none of those want to fit in there. Okay, this is just a regular puzzle. Where did they find that much dust? On Saturn's rings? Found the lock. Guess we're gonna keep that for now. Pressing that opens it up. Well, this does scream to me like some kind of computer. From the looks of it, we are doing a laser puzzle game. And it looks to me like these lasers only have a couple different directions they can point. So we're just trying to charge up both sides of this whole fly around. Okay. So that looks like that's half the puzzle solved. The question is, did I need to duplicate the triangle? I may just have to go back. Just floating rocks. Okay, well, the angle's perhaps a little bit awkward, but first question to ask, does this just visually connect to that? Typically, when you see puzzles like this, let's see. You're trying to connect just about everything. I can't help but suspect that in this case, you need to find something more. I kind of typically would expect this to light up in the process. That one. What you wanted to do is go that way. So okay, so we can't go back. There's a whole nother puzzle combination here. I guess we're gonna do that later. Although it doesn't. And we're locked in at the desk. There is no going back and looking at the other package. That's really close. That was it. Now we're in the cutscene. Right. And so now we are getting to some very basic puzzle solving, I have to say. Unimpressive puzzle solving. Okay. I would assume move here. Well, yeah, this is kind of weird. See, because that kind of works. But need more pieces. See, if we were crossing over, if it's lined up like that, Okay, I guess that works. Okay. So we'll move this over here. Move this over here. Move this over here. I guess the underlying patterns here was confusing me a little more than it should when I was just supposed to do that. It's now connected. I wonder what it controls. It's weird to kind of have a whole rock technology, although in fairness, if you wanted to hide things, hiding something in some weird looking rock would be one way to do it. See, if I was supposed to rotate this though, like that, somewhat. I don't know which way to rotate it. I don't think I'm at that puzzle yet. I think I'm probably just lining up that. Sphere is in bad state. It's unusable. Sphere is easily removed. Once again, we're duplicating alien technology of unknown technology, unknown power. Okay. So let's just start with green. See how that works. Okay. And then, I mean, the next thing we would want is probably purple. Okay. Seems to be working. And then let's change green to red. This is, once again, colors. Probably should have just memorized this, and then blue and blue. There's no telling what the significance of this is, though, as far as the colors. The infinity symbol, if we're to translate it directly to the infinity symbol, which is not a lot of reason to believe that, would maybe imply time travel, or infinite power, or looping in some other way. That is quite an impressive amount of energy, but what does it power? It's funny that there's no safety precautions really being taken at all. Well, you know, that whole thing could have just blown up. Nuclear bomb, planet destroying bomb, galaxy destroying bomb. Who knows? Particularly since the implication here is that the retrieval team didn't really know what these devices do. Locked drawer, can't open it. Well, I guess we should just start with the story, quote unquote. Let's see. Multiple functions, item, blank, 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 strong enough blank, even in blank, similar to object blank. The date on the machine holds a great value. It would be of interest to extract the data. Make sure to enlist help from the museum approved translator specialized in blank. Although the object's initial dimensions may fit a human neck, caution should be taken when using it. The site manager, Mr. ****, suffocated quite a bit following the activation. Excess of nitrogen in human lungs. Page 1 of 2. 135.9. There's a real weird inconsistency on how these are packaged too. Like, wood doesn't really make a lot of sense in shipping items from space unless you've got spaceships that have trees in them. Okay. So I open the drawer. Let's look on the other side here. Interesting. I was sworn there would have been something interesting there. Okay. It's the old double drawer. A7 A7861. Interesting, you're picking it up upside down. Now we're in the chapter 5. Chapters don't have any names. Again, I have no idea if any of these items are supposed to be connected to each other. If they are connected to each other, something weird is going to happen at the end. There's going to be some kind of like weird story. Let's just go ahead and assume we're going to duplicate that one. That was easy. Okay. The dumbness around this is just how much you can fiddle with all of this. It's just not really much of a challenge as far as a video game goes. Yeah, so it really is going to come down to just how much of a real experience you're going to have. This doesn't feel like much. Alright. Well, if I brought that inward, you almost have the right move there. That would get some of it. I'm not sure this is getting all of it, though. I guess I had to do the first one differently. Okay. Since you can just kind of fiddle with this whole thing, it does really seem like you could kind of just do this forever. It definitely feels like you could do things out of order with no real penalty. Okay, so the move here, I think is kind of obvious. You gotta find this wider gap here on the blue. So I gotta figure out a way to move the green and the blue separately. So that's what we're looking for here. And it does kind of align for us. And then the wider gap for that. And what moves what? If we kind of just move everything in increments. Need to figure out how to move the red without moving the purple. Or moving the purple without the red. That should be it. Now, the hope is to just be able to move. Can we just move the blue though? So close. So the move, last part is just going to be nudging this purple one. We can move that. Then we move that. We move that. We move that. Are we going in the right direction? Are we making any progress here? Do I need... Yeah, I think I need to line up the center parts first, like that. Then I think the move is probably to just manipulate that. How can we do this, though? I need that here. That there. Well, I may be wrong about which blue one I need. That there. That there. That's still not the right one. What did I do to line up the red and purple? Whatever I'm doing to line up the red and purple has to do, I also have to do to line up the blue. It took a lot more time than I feel like it should have. But weirdly, I kind of do feel like I'm also going to just be done with this whole item and chapter. Let's see. The disc supposed to fit in there. No. The rock was supposed to fit in there. So we have a different rock powering a different thing. And that just generates a whole extra headdress item. Symbols. Am I supposed to endoscope something? Am I supposed to duplicate a key? This item can't be duplicated. Interesting. So there's actually quite a few things that can't be duplicated. No real reason explained as to why. It doesn't feel like I can manipulate this, though, yet. At least. I can't even, like, zoom in. Ah, just had to click on it some more. Okay, red disc goes there, lines up to that. Okay, and what are we looking for? There really aren't a lot of options here. So just fiddling with it got me close enough. This puzzle game is too easy. It doesn't have enough dead ends on it for my taste. It needs something that would trap me, that would stop me from just getting the right answer on the first try. Again, this is just like a great example there where I'm not even really trying. I'm just spinning it a little bit and I'm getting the right answer. So this is some kind of face mask or oxygen mask, shield, helmet, something like that. Hmm. Definitely seems like more of a militaristic helmet if I was to guess. Don't really have any objects left. One would think that this ornate royal style helmet would be my guess. Would want me to look at that. And I guess you just can't duplicate everything. Probably would have helped if the game had more clearly explained that the duplicator can only duplicate simplistic non-electrical things. That would have been a decent limitation on such a technology. Every now and then we get a sound effect from the music. Seriously, what am I supposed to be doing now? Actually, let's rotate it behind us. See if we can find something else. Yeah. So I put the helmet on now. Even though I was told specifically not to do that. So maybe we are getting a continuing story here where this is the helmet of some kind of spaceship that was seemingly shot down. I have no idea what happened to whoever was wearing this helmet, but it looks like something wrong is going on here. And that is just that. Okay. Well, it does seem like we might be getting more of an interesting story than I thought. One interesting twist certainly would be that you are the alien, remembering or relearning what happened to yourself. Otherwise, you are just a museum person uncovering some kind of tragedy, maybe a conspiracy, maybe being committed by other members of your organization. Who knows? We'll find out, I guess, eventually. Still really no idea how much game is here. There could be just another hour. There could be 4 or 5 more hours. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and keep on watching. Thanks.